Welcome to Fall in Love with Yourself Now. No matter where you're at on the journey of life, this show is here to help you fall in love with yourself now and every month. It's filled with themes, tips, and tools to help you become the love of your own life. Think of this podcast like helpful advice from a best friend who only wants the best for you and your life. It's here to cheer you on, give advice, and help you see just how wonderful you are. Enjoy the advice for the month and also from our monthly guests who are here to reinforce you and support you on your self-love adventure. I'm Kim A. Flodin, and I'm a natural intuitive guide and healer. And I'm guided by my best friend, who I call the Dude, and you might know as Archangel Michael. I've been having otherworldly experiences my whole life and only realized later that not everyone was tapping into their intuition, hearing their guides, playing with nature spirits, and occasionally talking to people who are no longer with us on the planet. I've been blessed to have worked with and treated hundreds of people, animals, places, and things as an intuitive guide and healer, and truly understand that the world is a magical, beautiful place filled with many miracles. This podcast is here to help you see that your world can also be a magical place on your path to self-love and personal growth. And now, here's the show. Before we get going this month, I've got a few fun announcements I'd like to share with you. First, I'm putting together a very fun and informative workshop on how to say no without guilt, shame, or second-guessing yourself. I'm planning on running this workshop once a month and want to offer this first one to you at a special intro price of just $25. It'll be about 2 hours of learning how to say no, understanding the power of saying no for yourself, and practicing how to say an honest no. The first workshop is set for Saturday, November 7th from 12 to 2 Pacific Standard Time, and you can sign up at fallinlovewithyourselfnow.com. I really hope to see you there. 2. I hope you were able to listen to last month's bonus episode that I did with trauma expert Adrienne Rowan called Healing the World Woman by Woman, where we talk about healing from the trauma of abuse. This month is actually Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but I wanted to release that episode as soon as I created it because it's just such an important topic, and the more women who hear that episode, the better for all of us. 3. Watch for this month's bonus episode, which airs on the 19th. In the spirit of Halloween, myself and my guest, the lovely Shannon Palmer of the UK, have a spirited, pun intended, chat all about ghosts and how we deal with them. Shannon sees ghosts and I hear from them, and it was a super fun chat and perfect for this month. As an aside, if you want to contact someone who's passed over, book an appointment with me on my website, howtofallinlovewithyourselfnow.com. I love helping you connect with loved ones who've passed on, and it's not scary. They connect with me only through love, and a reading can be very healing. 4. I hope you're following me on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. I also want to ask another favor, which is, could you please go to iTunes and review the show? It would make my day because the more reviews and ratings the show has, the more iTunes promotes it so other people can find it. And if you do, I'd love to send you a downloadable copy of one of my most popular coloring books, How Do I Love You? Color the Ways. Just send me a screenshot of your review at thecoloringbookcoach@gmail.com or DM me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll get that right out to you. Hi, it's Kim, and welcome to Fall in Love with Yourself Now. The theme for October is Your Time is Limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. And that quote comes from Steve Jobs. You know, Steve Jobs was right about that. Your time is limited, and I think we're all feeling that even more in this time of a global pandemic. And I guess my questions to you right now are you wasting it living someone else's life? Are you living the life that you want to live? Are you living your life? Are you living a life that is true to you? If you answered yes to any of these questions, first of all, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. We all get sucked into trying to please other people instead of ourselves. We acquiesce sometimes when we don't really mean to, and we sometimes forget to, or maybe even can't, live our lives for ourselves right at this moment. But I'm encouraging you today to take stock of your life and look at the areas where you maybe aren't living your own life. Those places where you are compromising, not following your instincts and intuition, and not being true to yourself. Your tool for this month is to just sit for a few minutes with a journal and write down what your life would look like if you were truly living it how you want to live it. And then make a list of all the ways you're maybe not living the life you want to live and maybe living someone else's life. And then just sit with that for a few minutes and think about where you could make some changes. Now, this is all well and good. It's great to figure out what you can change, but it can be scary to make changes. I get it. Figuring out that you don't want to live someone else's life can be scary and eye-opening. But the time is now more than ever for you to be 100% honest and true to yourself. So my advice is to make a list of changes you can make, big and small, to become more in alignment with living your own life for your own sake. And then start with one action at a time to move into alignment. Pick a date in the future. It could be anywhere from a few weeks to a few months to a year that you want to be living more in alignment with who you truly are and living your own life. And then start taking actions to make that happen. The theme for the first week of October, which runs from Monday the 5th through Sunday the 11th, is, what are the infinite possibilities for something different to show up in my life? And that's a quote from Dr. Dain Heer. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend you look him up on YouTube and listen to some of his videos over there. He's got some great tips about getting into alignment with yourself and living your best life. So what are the infinite possibilities for something different to show up in your life? Well, the clue is in the question, because honestly, all possibilities are infinite and life can change on a dime. Again, I'm going to refer back to this pandemic. I don't think any of us saw this happening or coming, and yet here we are, and life as we knew it is no longer what it once was. So even though this is a very difficult time, it does illustrate that life can indeed change quickly, suddenly, and without warning. But change doesn't always have to be a bad thing, and I love the saying that the only constant is change. That's true. Nothing ever stays the same. Life comes down to, really, how you react to the changes, right? I'm sure if you took a couple of minutes and just thought about what's been going on for the past year, you'd find some very good changes have taken place for you, and possibly some difficult ones. But my point is that change is a constant thing, and possibilities are always there for you. That's the more important message here. Change happens, and within change comes possibilities. And that's exciting because anything can happen at any time, and it's how you react to it, as I said, that makes the difference. So for this week's tool, I'm going to ask you to grab your journal again and write this question to yourself. What are the infinite possibilities for something different to show up in my life? And then I want you to just write down everything that could happen, everything that comes to your mind. Even if it feels outrageous or crazy, write it down. And write down what you want to have happen. And don't worry about how or why it could happen. Just write down those answers to yourself and leave it be. Then take your list, put it in an envelope, put the date on it, and put it away. Then set a reminder for yourself, maybe 6 months down the road, and just see what comes of this. Just see what happens by allowing yourself to imagine some positive and exciting changes for you and your life. This is just a really great way of setting some intentions and letting the universe work out the details. I'm going to tell you a little secret. The universe is always working out the details. We might think we're driving the bus, but if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you know how I feel about that. Nobody's driving the bus. The bus is being driven, and you just need to enjoy the ride and trust that the universe is providing you with exactly what you need at any moment in time. If this sounds like crazy talk, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll happily work with you to get clear on the fact that you can just relax and let the universe have control and take control. Because guess what? It's already happening. Moving into week 2 of October, It starts on Monday, October 12th, and ends on Sunday the 18th, and our theme comes from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. He says, "Correction does much, but encouragement does more." And I like this theme because I think we're oftentimes way too hard on ourselves. We don't cut ourselves enough slack a lot of the times. Am I right? Does the voice in your head spend a lot of time telling you what you're not doing right instead of what you are doing right? First of all, you don't have to listen to the voice in your head. A lot of times, it's just old programming that you picked up along the way. Second of all, you have the choice of turning that thought around. The voice says you're not good enough, and you say, "Hang on, I am good enough." I really learned this lesson when I started doing the work of Byron Katie. Katie, as she's called, uses 4 questions and a turnaround to question these types of thoughts. My experience with Katie was amazing. I started with her at a 3-day workshop and then went on to become a trained facilitator of her work when I attended one of her schools for the work of Byron Katie. And it changed my life. I was previously a person who had a lot of shame, and I wasn't dealing with it, even though I had done years of therapy and other modalities to help me think and feel about myself in a better way. I still had a lot of things I needed to clear up. And I want to say that during that very first workshop, I dropped a belief about myself that was so huge and causing me so much pain that every time it came into my mind, I felt like dropping to my knees and crying with shame. It was one of those kinds of thoughts I couldn't even speak out loud to anybody, and it was weighing me down, and I didn't know how to get rid of it. Like I said, I had done therapy. I had done other types of work to deal with stressful, shameful thoughts. But this one would not let go of me until I did the work of Byron Katie. During that first workshop, I sat down with a complete stranger, and she shared her most shameful thought with me, and I shared my most shameful thought with her. And then we each asked each other the 4 questions and found the turnarounds. And you know what? Within, I would say, maybe 45 minutes, I was crying. And I was laughing. And I was free of that thought. And you know what else? Not only was I free of the thought, I learned that the shameful thought was in a way true, but it was okay, because when I changed my perception about that thought, I was free. And I saw that not only was the thought incorrect in the way I was looking at it, but I had so many more options available to me in my life once I became clear on what it was saying to me. It truly was a profound moment in my life, and one that I wish for each and every one of you, because we're all carrying around thoughts like this, and it's so not helpful, and it doesn't have to be this way. So I encourage you, if you've never tried the work of Byron Katie and you have a thought like that that's painful to you, please reach out and I'll help you to turn that thought around. And I think that you'll probably end up crying and laughing through your tears, just like I did that day. So your tool/challenge for this week is to pay attention to your thoughts. Grab your journal again and write down your most stressful thoughts and see how that makes you feel. Sometimes even just writing them down takes a little bit of the power away, because these kind of thoughts need to be brought into the light. Again, if it's too uncomfortable for you to do this on your own, I'm here for you. Once you've listed them, I want you to do a little ceremony to release them. You can tear them into tiny pieces and throw them away. You can burn them safely, or even drown them in water to let them symbolically go. One of the things Katie likes to say is that when you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time, which means stop arguing with your reality and start making changes that are loving and kind to yourself. I do want to say it takes courage to look at these types of thoughts and to admit that you might not be looking at them in the right way. As I said earlier, if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to change your perspective, it can freaking change your whole life. And that's what I want for you. Moving into week 3, which begins on Monday the 19th and runs through Sunday the 25th, which happens to be my birthday. I love birthdays, don't you? I embrace every age I turn because I made it this far, which is truly a reason to celebrate. Anyway, the theme for this week comes from me, and I say you never know when a new beginning is going to show up. And I love that this one showed up for us this month, because this whole month seems to be about the fact that we need to understand that new possibilities are here for us every single moment in every single day. We just have to be able to recognize them and be open to them as they're happening. I'm telling you right now, resistance to change is painful. And of course, that reminds me of one of my favorite sayings as well, which is, what you resist persists, and what you focus on grows. So don't be doing that to yourself. Work hard on surrendering to what is. You know, I've been using Judith Orloff's The Power of Surrender cards recently, and I've been pulling the Surrender to What Is card almost every day for the last few weeks. And it's just such a great reminder because, again, I'm not driving the bus. And you're not driving the bus. And fighting against reality is a losing proposition, like I said in the previous week. So you never really do know when a new possibility is going to show up. I do know one thing, though, that if we're not paying attention, sometimes new possibilities show up and we don't see them at all because we're so stuck in what we believe is true about life that we can't see what's right in front of us. Or we're scared of what's new, and that keeps us stuck and unable to move forward. Does any of this sound familiar to you? I know it does to me. There have been times in my life when great possibilities have been right in front of me, and I've been like a deer in the headlights. But I've decided I'm not going to beat myself up because I also trust timing, and that if I was truly supposed to take that possibility and do something with it, I would have. I'm really not a big fan of regrets. I don't enjoy looking back at things and thinking, what if, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I make that move, etc. And I don't think you should be either. So your tool/challenge for this week is to, yes, I'm going to ask you to go back to your journal once again and write this sentence down. I never know when a new beginning is going to show up. Write it down 10 times and maybe put it on a sticky note where you can see it because it's true. You never know when a new beginning is going to show up. And it's nothing to be afraid of. And you want to be open to those new beginnings. I want you to see new beginnings as the way that the universe is supporting you. And sometimes new beginnings do sound like scary things, but they don't have to be. Because guess what? Every day is a new beginning. And like I mentioned, my birthday is Sunday, and that's a new beginning. New beginnings are happening with every breath we take. And I want you to embrace your new beginnings. So remind yourself that you never know when a new beginning is going to show up, and it's okay. Not only that, it's exciting. Moving into week 4, which starts on Monday, October 6th and ends on Sunday, November 1st. I think I've mentioned before that I just go in and pull the themes for each month randomly. And I love that this month is so filled with the theme of possibilities because this week's theme, the final week of this month, is when nothing is sure, everything is possible. And that comes from Margaret Drabble. Margaret knows what she's talking about because when nothing is sure, that really opens up your life for so many wonderful possibilities to show up and goes back to the fact that we don't really know what's happening. You know, Archangel Michael is my guide, and ever since the pandemic started up, I've started wondering what the hell is going on, and he has been constantly reminding me that I don't know what I don't know. And that has been such a great reminder because whenever I start to get a little agitated about the uncertainties of life and what's happening on this planet, I hear that gentle reminder of I don't know what I don't know. And it just reminds me that we can't know everything. We don't have to know everything. And honestly, we don't want to know everything. Plus, because I do work with my guides and angels, and particularly Archangel Michael, who I refer to as the dude, and I just simply adore, I know that things are happening beneath the surface of what I can perceive as a human. I see angels and Archangel Michael a lot like radio waves in the world. I can't necessarily see them, but I know that they exist. And I know from all the work I've done over the years and all the help I've gotten from the other realms that there's a lot more going on than we can access at any given time with our regular 5 senses. But we have more than 5 senses, and when you can tune into your 6th sense and beyond, you'll know that that's true. And that just leads us right back to we don't know what we don't know. And also the theme for this week of when nothing is sure, everything is possible. It's true. The tool for this week is I just want you to trust in the fact that when nothing is sure, everything is possible, and that you don't know what you don't know. We have to trust the larger forces at work. Call them God, call them the universe, call them the angels and archangels. Whatever you call them, just trust and know that they're all working behind the scenes. And things are running exactly as they should be. Again, I know that sounds kind of crazy for where we're at in the world, but we have to trust the bigger picture. Otherwise, we're scaring the hell out of ourselves, and that's not helpful either. So back to your journal. I want you to write yourself a letter like you were writing it to yourself as a small child who's scared about what's going on. Be super kind to yourself. Encourage yourself. Remind yourself that the world is a magical place and that things are happening that we have no way of knowing about, and that those things could very well be happening in our favor and also for the good of the planet. Remind yourself that you don't know what you don't know, and that this is such an exciting time because when things are uncertain, everything is truly possible. Then sign it with the words, I love you so much, and I trust in the universe, God, or whatever you call the force that is running everything. Then I want you to read this to yourself anytime you're feeling that there's just too much uncertainty for you to handle. Remind yourself that we're in an exciting time on the planet. There is a shift going on, and that the possibility for change is right in front of us. This truly is an exciting time to be alive, and really, we have a lot to celebrate. Thanks so much for tuning in today. It means a lot to me that you're listening. And again, if you have a minute and can review the show on iTunes, please do so. This helps others find the show who may enjoy it. And don't forget, if you do leave a review, you can send me a screenshot either by DM on Instagram or Facebook or to thecoloringbookcoach@gmail.com, and I'll send you a downloadable copy of one of my favorite and popular coloring books, How Do I Love You? Color the Ways. Be sure to check my website, fallinlovewithyourselfnow.com, for special offers and more information on my upcoming How to Say No class and other workshops and classes I'll be offering. I would love to see you and meet you in one of those classes. Our music today comes from YouTube's Creator Library, and the artist is Silent Partner. The song is called Believer. You can find all that information on the show notes at fallinlovewithyourselfnow.com. Thanks again for listening, and I'm wishing you a beautiful month. This show is written, produced, and edited by Kim A. Flodin.